Hey, what's up guys? Silver Slayer, welcome back for another video. So I posted a video called The History of Gold. I've done the industrial uses of silver. I've talked about the history of silver, and I wanted to make this video talking about the many uses of gold, because I think that it is kind of this stigma that there's a lot more industrial uses for silver, where gold is kind of just looked at as for jewelry and silver is the metal that's more into electronics and all that. But I just want to say that there are several uses for gold, from aerospace technology to electronics to dentistry and so on and so forth. So I wanted to read this article with you guys. It's a really interesting article, a lot of very good information, and a lot of times on my channel I want to also give some history lessons and talk about some other stuff besides just modern day precious metal coin collecting. I like to also understand the history behind stuff. So anyways, so it says, the most useful metal of all the minerals mined from earth, none is more useful than gold. Its usefulness is derived from a diversity of special properties. Gold conducts electricity, does not tarnish, is very easy to work with, can be drawn into wire, can be hammered into thin sheets. Alloys with many other metals can be melted and casted into highly detailed shapes, has a wonderful color and brilliant luster. Gold is a memorable metal that occupies a special place in the human mind. When Spanish explorers first arrived in the New World, they met the native South Americans. These two cultures had been separated by a vast ocean. They had never touched another, never spoke. They both spoke different languages and lived entirely different lives, yet they had one thing in common. They both held gold in the highest esteem and used it to make some of their most important objects. Throughout history of our planet, almost every established culture has used gold to symbolize power, beauty, purity, and accomplishment. Today we continue to use gold for our significant objects: wedding rings, Olympic medals, Oscars, Grammys, money, crucifixes, and so on and so forth. But no other substance of the same rarity holds a more visible and prominent place in our society. So that's just a little quick history lesson, also talking about how gold has been deemed valuable for so many thousands of years. And so when we look at paper money and how quickly that gets destructive and pretty much just fizzles out, this is why we transfer our wealth into gold, because gold and silver are metals that have always been deemed valuable, no matter if money exists or not, because it's not about the monetary value of it. There's also value within itself called intrinsic value, where even if an American Eagle isn't worth that dollar face of legal tender, it says, there's still 1 ounce of actual silver inside that coin. And that's the valuable part. The monetary value is not always the value in every object. So anyways, this we're going to start off with the jewelry uses, and just this is the primary use, so it makes sense that it's deemed first. So gold has been used to make ornamental objects and jewelry for thousands of years. Gold nuggets found in streams are very easy to work with and probably one of the first metals used by humans. Today, most of the gold that is newly mined or recycled is used in the manufacture of jewelry. About 78% of the gold consumed each year is used in the manufacturing of jewelry. Special properties of gold make it perfect for manufacturing jewelry. These include very high luster, desirable yellow color, tarnish resistance, ability to be drawn into wires, hammered into sheets, or casted into shapes. These are all properties of an attractive metal that is easily worked with into beautiful objects. Another extremely important factor that demands the use of gold into jewelry is tradition. Important objects are expected to be made from gold. That is very true. If you're looking for a very wealthy jewelry piece with a lot of power, you expect it to have gold in it. It's just that is a traditional thing too as well. It's very true. I also liked in there how they talked about what the tarnish resistance is another very key factor, because when you're looking at jewelry, you're looking at it, it's not in a numismatic light, but with us silver stackers, it kind of is, because with gold we're a lot more susceptible to buy slabbed coins in gold, because we know they don't milk spot, we know they don't tarnish, where with silver it's a little risky, and it is a sketchy ball game if you're going to be spending a lot higher of a premium on these silver coins when there's a chance they will tarnish and get milk spots and ruin the value. So gold definitely, since it doesn't tarnish, and the lack of that, it does go a lot longer ways in the jewelry world. No one wants their jewelry that can be very expensive, especially when working with gold, to start tarnishing and losing value and all that. So anyways, where are we at? Alright, pure gold is too soft to stand up to the stresses applied to the many jewelry items. Craftsmen learned that alloying gold with other metals such as copper, silver, platinum would increase its durability. Since then, most gold used to make jewelry is an alloy of gold with one or more metals. The alloys of gold have a lower value per unit of weight than pure gold. A standard trade known as caratage was developed to designate the gold content of these alloys. Pure gold is known as 24 karat gold and is most always marked with 24K. An alloy that is 50% gold on the weight is known as 12 karat gold and is marked with 12K. An alloy that contains 75% gold weighs is 18 karat and is marked 18K. In general, high carat jewelry is softer and more resistant to tarnish, while low carat jewelry is stronger and less resistant to tarnish, especially when in contact with perspiration. So, alloying gold with other metals changes the color of the finished products. An alloy of 75% gold and 16% silver and 9% copper yields yellow gold. White gold is an alloy of 75% gold, 4% silver, 4% copper, and 17% palladium. Other alloys yield pink, green, peach, and even black colored metals. So, it's very interesting. Looks like the most pure gold is the yellow red color, the darker yellows, and then when you get into those whiter colors, that's where it's mixed in with a lot of other alloys. But it really depends on the metal. So each, for instance, if gold was mixed with silver, and copper, it might come out different than if it was mixed with copper and palladium, so it's just pretty interesting how different metals can create different, I mean, that makes sense, but it just some stuff you never really think about when you're looking at white gold and all that. And so anyways, this next part of the article is talking about financial gold, coinage, bullion, and backing, and this is kind of where we're at on my channel and most of these stacker channels. So this will be interesting to see what they say about gold in a financial light. So, because gold is highly valued and very limited in supply, it has long been used as a medium of exchange or money. The first known use of gold in transactions dates back over 6,000 years. Wow. Early transactions were done using pieces of gold or pieces of silver. The rarity, usefulness, and desirability of gold make it a substance of long-term value. Gold works well for this purpose because it has a high value, is durable, portable, and easily divisible. Some early printings of paper money were backed by gold held in safekeeping for every unit of money that was placed in circulation. The United States once used a gold standard, which we talk about, and maintained a stockpile of gold to back every dollar in circulation. Under this gold standard, any person could present paper currency to the government and demand in exchange an equal value of gold. Wouldn't that be amazing if we had that now? The gold standard was once used by many nations, but eventually became too cumbersome and is no longer used by any nation. The gold used as a financial backing for currencies was most often held in the form of gold bars, also known as gold bullion. The use of gold bars kept manufacturing costs to a minimum, allowed convenient handling and storage, because you don't got to worry about any type of toning or scratches or anything like that. If it's if it's in a bullion bar, you can handle it. You don't got to worry about losing any type of value if it anything. So today many governments, individuals, and institutions hold investments of gold in the convenient form of bullion. The first gold coins were minted under the order of King Croesus of Lydia, which we talked about in my history of gold video. In about 560 BC, gold coins were commonly used in transactions up through the early 1900s. When paper currency became more common, that was when they became a more common form of exchange. Gold coins were issued in two types of units. Some were denominated in the units of currency, such as dollars, while others were issued in standard weights, such as ounces or grams. Today, gold coins are no longer in wide use for financial transactions. However, gold coins issued in specific weights are popular ways for people to purchase and own small amounts of gold. That's kind of what we have here. This little 1/10 ounce gold right here is a great way to own a little piece of gold without spending $1,300 for a full ounce. It's a lot more affordable, and people who don't like spending large amounts of money at a time can then also own some gold, which is really cool. So this is talking about the use of gold in electronics right here. The most important industrial use of gold is in the manufacturing of electronics. Solid-state electronic devices use very low voltages and currents, which are easily interrupted by corrosion or tarnish at the contact points. Gold is the highly efficient conductor that can carry these tiny currents and remain free of corrosion. Electronic components made with gold are highly reliable. Gold is used in connectors, switch and relay contacts, solder joints, and connecting wires and connecting strips. A small amount of gold is used in almost every sophisticated electronic device. These include cell phones, calculators, personal digital assistants, globe positioning systems, which are GPSs, and other small electronic devices. The most large electronic appliances, such as television sets, are also containing gold. One challenge with the use of gold in very small quantities is, in very small devices, is loss of the metal form from society. Nearly 1 billion cell phones are produced each year, and most of them contain about 50 cents worth of gold. Their average lifetime is under 2 years, and very few are currently recycled. This is what I talked about with silver, especially because silver is used in the industrial world a lot more than gold. And this is what happens. They put this gold and silver into cell phones and all that. And even though there's a very small amount, they said there's 50 cents worth of gold in each cell phone. If you're producing billions of cell phones and the majority of them are not being recycled because the amount of gold in there is so minuscule, there's no point to strip it out, then that's a lot of silver being wasted. Whereas most gold, it said 75% or 78% of gold is used in jewelry, where of course jewelry is recycled. When you want to pawn your wedding ring or pawn your necklace or whatever the case is, that's a lot easier to be recycled than silver's industrial uses. So even though silver comes out the ground 9-to-1 against gold, a lot more of it is being lost, never to be found. So, pretty interesting. The use of gold in computers. Gold is used in many places in the standard desktop or laptop computer. The rapid change of accurate transmission and digital information through the computer in one form component to another requires an efficient and reliable conductor. Gold meets these requirements better than any other metal. So it's going on to talk about computers, the use of gold in dentistry. How would iron work as a dental filling? Not very well. Your dentist would need blacksmithing tools, while your smile would be rusty for a few days after filling. And you would need to get used to the taste of iron. Even at such a higher expense, gold is used in dentistry because of its superior performance. So that makes sense. Even though it is a lot more expensive, the way it performs, obviously in your mouth, you're going to pay for that so it doesn't rust and so you don't have that taste and all that. So gold is known to have been used in dentistry as early as 700 BC. These dentists use gold wire to fasten replacement teeth into the mouths of their patients. Gold was probably used to fill cavities in ancient times. However, there's no documentation of the evidence, but until a little over 1,000 years ago. The medical uses of gold. Gold is used as a drug to treat small number of medical conditions. Injections of weak solutions of sodium, I'm not going to try to pronounce that word, but are sometimes used to treat arthritis. Particles of radioactive gold isotopes are implanted in the tissues of nerves as a radiation source in the treatment of cancer, of certain cancers. Small amounts of gold are used as remedies as a condition known as lagophilos, which is the inability of a person to close their eyes completely. That's pretty interesting. This condition is treated by implanting small amounts of gold in the upper eyelid. Implanting the gold weights force the gravity and helps the eyelid close fully. Pretty interesting. The use of gold in aerospace. If you are going to spend billions of dollars on a vehicle when launched will travel on a voyage where the possibility of lubrication, maintenance, and repair is absolutely zero, then building it with extreme dependability is essential. And this is exactly why gold is used in hundreds of ways with NASA launches. Pretty interesting. I did not even really think about that. That would be a perfect use for a metal since it is so dependable. And gold is used in circuitry because it's dependable conductor and a connector. In addition, many parts of the space vehicle are fitted with gold-coated polyester films. Gold is also used as a lubricant between the mechanical parts in the vacuum of space, and volatilize will be broken intense radiation beyond Earth's atmosphere. Gold is a very low shear and strength, and then a film of gold between critical moving parts serves as a lubricant. Pretty interesting. The uses of golds, the use of gold in awards and statues, talking about, first place medals and all that. It's associated with many positive qualities, the purity of it, for religious aspects, crosses, communion wear, it's that use of gold is for the purity. We're talking about being a pure soul, being very pure and open to God and all that with religions, and gold is the perfect metal to resemble that because it's so pure. Especially with like kings, if you're looking at royalty and the highest esteem, it would make sense that gold is chosen for that, obviously. There's uses of golds in glass making. This right here talks about the future uses of gold. So it says gold is too expensive to buy or too expensive to use by chance. Instead, it is used deliberately and only when less expensive substitutes cannot be identified. As a result, once a use is found for gold, it is rarely abandoned for another metal. This means that the number of uses for gold have been increasing over time. That makes a lot of sense too. If we have a better use for silver and something, we're not going to use gold because obviously silver would be cheaper. But with the uses of gold, when we do find that use, it's pretty hard to replace it since gold outperforms most metals, and we are only finding more uses as time progresses, which is great because that looks very strong for gold and silver. When I did my industrial uses for silver video, I also talked about that in the article, how it is still looking like there's a lot of uses for silver, even with these superconductors. It still performs the best while used with silver, so it's still looking good for the way technology is going with both of these precious metals. So I'm going to wrap up the video there. I will post a link to the article in the description if you want to take a read for yourself. Pretty interesting stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and like and subscribe for more videos like this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Peace.